If you have a pet bird and want to know if the cookware in your home is safe to use near them, stick around because I'm going into more detail about that today. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and having a fantastic week. In today's video we're talking about quite a serious topic, which is making sure that the cookware that you have in your home is safe to use around your birds. Now many of you may know all about this already, but especially for beginners or people who may not have even considered this, I wanted to make a dedicated video about it because it's so important. Because there are many types of cookware that you might buy thinking that's a great deal, that will do well with my cooking, but actually they are toxic or deadly to your pet birds. So we're going to talk about all about some of the toxic things today and also some of the safe things that you can use as well. So let's dive straight in at the serious end and talk about the things that are deadly or toxic to your birds. Now that's going to be cookware that contains Teflon, PFOA or PTFE, or generally speaking a lot of the things that say non-stick but don't describe exactly in what manner they are non-stick. If in doubt, don't use it. It's absolutely not worth it to use around your birds. Now, the reason why those things are toxic and or deadly to your birds is when they're heated up, they release fumes and chemicals. And our birds have a very efficient respiratory system, but it means it's also very sensitive. So breathing in those fumes is very, very dangerous for them and it will end very badly. It doesn't matter if you're only using it quickly or you're going to do it in this way, because I've seen a lot of places say, well, I'll still use it because my bird's over the other end of the house and it'll be fine. Honestly, is it really worth the risk to the life of your bird just to use this particular type of pot and pan? I know they're expensive, of course, and you know, we've had to throw away lots of things that we didn't consider safe, or when I moved in with David, in with him and his bird, I had to make sure I didn't bring anything that wasn't going to be safe to use around them. So it's really important to not take a risk with your bird. It's not worth their life just so you can have a certain type of cookware. It's also interesting to note that there's actually a fair bit of evidence to say that a lot of these non-stick coatings that contain these chemical fumes actually aren't great for humans as well. So it could be good for your health as well as your birds to not use these types of things. Again, there's going to be people online who say that, oh, it's only if you heat them to a really high temperature, that's when it's bad, or when they're broken, that's when it's bad. Actually, again, there's new evidence coming out to suggest that actually they don't have to be heated to a high temperature, or they don't have to be old and broken in order for them to be extremely seriously dangerous to your bird. So again, I can't stress this enough. I know it sounds like I'm nagging, but honestly, it is not worth the risk for your bird because it's so dangerous and it can end really badly really quickly. So when we're looking at non-stick kind of poisoning to our pet birds, quite often you'll see lethargy start really quickly, you will see respiratory problems and things like that, but actually quite often it won't even get to that point. It'll be instant bad times and they will pass away very quickly if they are exposed to these toxic fumes. That's why I really stress not to even have them in your house, not to have the temptation of them. And it's also really important, although we're talking about cookware today, that there are non-stick coatings in a whole variety of products that you could potentially bring into your home. Things like waffle makers, air fryers, slow cookers, hair straighteners, hair dryers, all these different kinds of things, toasty makers, whatever it may be. If it heats up and if it says it has a non-stick coating, they're like red flags and sus, and you need to investigate, because anything that heats up could have the potential to have a non-stick coating. And of course, if it says non-stick, we need to know what kind of non-stick that is, because more often than not, it is going to be something that is not safe to use around your bird. Now, before I get into some of the things that are safe and things that I use in my home, I wanted to point this out because I know there's going to be people who send me comments saying, well, I have seen this brand, or I use this brand, is this bird safe? It says it's non-stick, but it's safe, it's green, it's this, it's that. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know all the brands out there. It's always best to contact the manufacturer, ask them if they're Teflon free, PTFE free, PFOA free. What is the method of non-stick that's on this pan? And if you're not convinced, don't use it. But honestly, I don't know all the brands, unfortunately, but to be honest, I use the things I'm going to show you now. So the thing we have most of is stainless steel. We've got frying pans, we've got baking trays, we've got saucepans as well. I don't want to bring the whole kitchen in here, but generally speaking, stainless steel is perfectly safe to use around your birds. If your stainless steel things have a black inner coating and they're not just stainless steel like this, I would be quite wary because it's quite likely that they may actually have a non-stick coating. But if they're nice and silver all over, then they're going to be fine, as long, again, as they are just completely stainless steel and no other elements in them as well. I would like to point out that I am possibly in the running for the world's worst chef, so I am not an expert using any of these things. There are ways of doing it, so you know, you cook things properly, but to be honest, I'm just going to butcher anything that I try and cook anyway, so we just make do with what we've got. And yeah, stainless steel, generally speaking, is pretty good. I do have a lot of options in my Amazon store if you want to see some of the things that we have bought that are going to be bird safe for you, but stainless steel is a great option. It's usually fairly affordable. Of course, it's a bit more pricey than some of the typical, most common non-stick things you see out there which aren't safe, but it's worth the investment because if you treat them right, they're going to last for a long time. Next up, the thing again we use kind of second most often is glass. This is just like a Pyrex dish, not sponsored, but glass is perfectly safe to use. Again, as long as it is just glass, there's no reason why you can't use this for whatever it is you might be cooking. Of course, you want to make sure you're using it properly and not using it in a way where it's going to explode, because some people don't seem to know how to use these sorts of things safely. But glass is perfectly safe to use around your birds when you are cooking. Although I will say, again, there's another caveat, if you are cooking anything, make sure your bird is in their safe space, whether that's their cage, their aviary, their bird room. Don't have your birds out and around you while you're cooking, because there's hot oil, there's steam, there's boiling water. We don't want our birds anywhere near that. They don't need to participate in that. There's sharp knives as well. We want to make sure that they are well away from that. They can have a nice foraging activity to do whilst we are cooking, or in my case, attempting to make something vaguely edible. Now, less often, but something we do have is ceramic. Ceramic is, again, fine to use. Ceramic and enamel coated kind of dishes and things are safe. However, there will be some ceramic out there, like with everything, that's trying to hide non-stick coatings. So even if you see stainless steel, glass, ceramic with a non-stick kind of caveat, make sure you are investigating what exactly that means, because you don't want to have any of that kind of stuff in there. You want to be making sure you're understanding why it's considered non-stick and what that means. But generally speaking, ceramic and enamel coated, glass and stainless steel are the ones that we typically use most often. And one of the other things that is also a very good option is cast iron. Now, we don't have that because it's really heavy. I don't really like cooking with it. I don't find it enjoyable to attempt to cook with, but cast iron is a perfectly safe option. Again, as long as it is just cast iron, you can use that safely around your birds. There is methods of seasoning it to use it properly so the food doesn't get stuck. Same with stainless steel. Haven't cracked that yet, but you know, we make do. But that's another great option, and it's also very long lasting as well. So guys, that does bring me to the end of the video. I hope you found it useful learning a little bit more about what is and isn't safe to use around your birds when you are cooking. I will leave a blog post that I found a little while back on another website down in the description, so you can learn a little bit more about the science of what all of these non-stick coatings are, what they do, and a little bit more information, because it's always good to be really clued up when you're bringing all this kind of stuff into your home and using it in the same space with your bird. But as I said, I hope you found it useful. I'd love to hear from you down in the comments if you have any questions, or if you want to share what you use and things like that. That's definitely bird safe. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Take care and see you later.